And we welcome you back live to Daytona International Speedway, coverage of the 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by our friends at Garmin Verb. I'm Rick Benjamin, Dorsey Schrader swinging in alongside. We'll be here with you for the next couple of hours on this Saturday afternoon to get you going with Formula V action, followed by GT Lights to wrap things up here today. And we've got just a host of cars and drivers coming your way on Formula V today. It's going to be, as always, a very competitive race. Dorsey, you and I have seen some great races, some wild finishes. We had a crazy finish earlier today in F production. Just some outstanding competition across the board here today. It's been a great day of racing. Not everybody has had their dreams fulfilled here among the competitors, but it has certainly been a day to remember for a lot of people.
This will be no exception. Formula V is always wild at any racetrack. Underpowered little Volkswagen 1200cc engines. They draft and draft and draft and draft. They could probably pass each other 6 times a lap here. It's going to be intense.
It will be, because the high-speed nature of Daytona and the aero and so forth will make it that, as always, in Formula V. Hayward Wagner with us on pit road. What are you hearing down there, young man?
Guys, it's been an old-school runoffs. There's a bunch of new classes that everybody came down to Daytona excited to see. The Spec Miata race at night, the STU, STL classes, really people thought would be great performers here, but it's been production racing that has led the way, and this is another one of those classes that has a 50-year history where you've got competitors that have 20 and 30 years of experience here at the runoffs getting ready to duke it out on the high banks.
Looking forward to seeing that, no question about it. Formula V cars will be taken to the racetrack very, very shortly. We've got our Garmin Verb Fast Lap here today, and Laura Hayes, the Digital Intelligence Formula V, will take us down through the tri-oval here in her 22 car.
Take a look at the front end. You can see the front axle off of a Volkswagen. You can see the front tires off of a Volkswagen and wheels, stock width, height, everything. Stock 1200cc engine at the back. They're lightweight cars, but you really, really need to have a partner. You need to draft. We've said that all along here at Daytona as they come through this Turn 3 complex. 65 horsepower on a good day, so you need all the help you can get. This corner, again, the International Horseshoe. It's very, very slippery. Leads down off that corner, longest straightaway on the infield, and it goes to the quickest corner of the kink, which is daunting in any class. No matter what you're driving, to do this flat is a handful at the very least. Tight right-hander off this corner looks like it'd be a pretty simple deal, but it falls off camber pretty roughly at the exit. And so you'll see these guys up on the curb there. They'll come all the way out, track out, try to stay off that curb, because it does tend to want to pull you right out in the grass. This left-hander, very important. It is the last corner leading back to the banking where all the speed is. Your exit speed here will carry you all the way back down to start finish line, but you have that bus stop coming up, the chicane built to help with the tire wear and temperature, and that's coming up midway down this next straightaway. Look at the draft, just huge amount of speed, pops out, easy go by there. Now the problem on these long straightaways is if you do a draft like that, pop out and go back in, now the guy behind you has plenty of room to get caught back up, draft you, and pop back out. But this looks like just going through butter like with a hot knife. There goes the 65 through.
No wings on these cars, no aero to speak of is an issue here.
Just make them as clean as you can possibly get them. Real narrow front tires and rear tires, so they really cut through the air pretty quickly. Even with the limited horsepower, they go fast, but you have to have a partner. You have to think your way through this race. You cannot win it alone.
This will be one of those classes where the object of the game partly will be to stay down near that double yellow line and save ground.
Absolutely. Just run the shortest distance, run with someone with you to help on the draft situation, get out of the wind as much as possible. And we have the possibility of weather in the area as well, as you can see from the clouds ahead.
This is not today, of course.
But we can line.
We've got bright sunshine right now, very warm temperatures here in the low 90s at this point at Daytona Beach. But off to the west, as is often the case here in Central Florida, dark clouds looming out there. So we might see a shower.
This class, again, stock Volkswagen engine, 1200, stock gearbox, stock ratios in the gearbox, stock front axle. All these pieces came off of Volkswagen Beetle, the original series.
Steering rack, everything.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, that being said, we haven't produced that car in many, many years, and we've been racing this class many, many years. It's getting hard to get the pieces you need to replace things that, A, wear out or that are ruined in crashes.
Sure. Well, in Formula Car racing, this is about as inexpensive as it gets. Great starting point. A lot of drivers do this their entire SCCA careers and have a ton of fun in the process.
That's a good point. The fact that the drivers in this class tend to stay here. There's lots of guys. Roger Siebenaler on the pole. Michael Vereson's right next to him. They've been here forever and ever. You know, Stefan Davis down in 7th place. He's another guy who's been here for many, many years. And, you know, it just goes on and on and on. They tend to love this class. It's a cult.
Yeah. And great competition, normally the case. 30 cars and drivers ready to take the green here. Roger Siebenaler will be on the pole in the 72 car. He is from North Hero, Vermont. That's the AutoWorks Mysterian entry. Michael Vereson's from Burlington, Wisconsin will line up second in the 65, the Speed Sport Engineering Speed Sport chassis. Starting third, Ron Whitston from Neenah, Wisconsin, the Subway Hoosier Protoform entry. That's car number 5, the 12 of Andrew Whitson, also from Neenah, Wisconsin. The Rocket Motors Subway Protoform will start in 4th spot. 5th starter, Richard Shields from Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, the 77 car, the ARS Incorporated VDF. Jonathan Weichel from Baltimore, Maryland, starts in the 6th position in the 61, the JK Technologies entry. That is their self-built car. Steve Davis from Danielsville, Georgia, lines up 7th in the 80 car, the Butler Engines Wedge. And going in the 8th starting spot, the 76, Gary Cadell. He's from Tully, New York. That's the AutoWorks Garrisal entry. Starting 9th, Laura Hayes. We rode with her a moment ago in the 22 from Fletcher, North Carolina, the Digital Intelligence Protoform. 10th starter, Charles Hearn from Houston, Texas in the 37. That's the Noble Racing Vertec machine. Going 11th, the 30 car, Donnie Isley from Fletcher, North Carolina, another Digital Intelligence entry. That's the Agitator model. Tyler Hunter starts 12th in the 21. He is from Denver. 13th starter is Alex Scaler from Flemington, New Jersey. 14th in the 11, Guy Bellingham from Brantford, Ontario. Andrew Abbott starts 15th in the 2 car from Michigan. Mark Edwards from Los Angeles in the 74 goes 16th. Sherman Engler from Wisconsin, make that Alabama, I should say, in the 10 car starts 17th. Mitchell Ferguson from Salem, Virginia in the 52, 18th. Andrew Pastore from Watertown, Massachusetts in the 75 goes 19th. Russell Stalvey from Jacksonville, Illinois will start in the 20th spot. That's the 38 car. The 23 of Russell Fredericks from Northport, New York starts 21st. John Fuchs 22nd. Lisa Noble 23rd. Anthony Henderson, Charles Turner, Mark Felson, Justin Wilbanks, Duke Waldrop, Peter Chalametru, and Harry Schneider rounding out your 30 car field as we line them up 2 by 2 by 2 behind the safety car.
And of course, Lisa Noble, back in 23rd, is the president and CEO of Sports Car Club of America. Is the widow of now I've gone Bill Noble, who was one of the guys that started this class. He was an engine builder for the longest time, became an engine builder. Bill was a great friend of mine, really good guy, and he kept this class alive for many, many, many years.
Still great competition in Formula V. Qualifying speeds, if you're comparing back at home, 2:21.16 is the pole speed, pole time for Roger Siebenaler in the 72 car. So these are cars that are 20, 30 seconds slower in some cases around Daytona's 3.5-mile layout compared to some of what we have seen here earlier today, but nonetheless should be great action. Safety car heads for pit road. We're ready to put the green flag in the air for 50 miles of Formula V action today here at Daytona International Speedway. And on the front row, that's the 72 of Siebenaler. And they go 4 wide. Siebenaler's car with the red nose cone there. He is your early leader down into turn 1.
Watch how quickly they get single file, though. They'll know by this point in time. You make that aggressive start, and then you get in line. Oh, and you see these puffs of smoke? These are normal for these cars. They puff smoke out the exhaust. Doesn't mean the engine's going to blow up. They're set up very loose. The engines don't last a real long time.
Michael Vereson's in the 65, moving into second spot. That's the red machine there. The third place car, the 61. That's the car of Jonathan Weissheit. He started back in 4th position, and he has moved up a position here in the early going.
They try to make these car bodies as narrow as any person can fit in. You know, you'd like to have a midget in there, really, to drive it, because the more narrow you can make that body with that, you know, you have to run a stock front axle, rear axle, differential, all that stuff. You got to run it like it was in Volkswagen. So making the body narrow, that takes the drag away.
Always reminded me these cars did all the years that they've been around, that we've watched them call these races during the runoffs. of soapbox derby cars in a lot of ways.
In
Same
a way,
concept.
It
really.
is. You're absolutely right. Same concept. Make a car that's slippery through the air, as narrow as you can make the body be between the wheelbase, which is set. The horsepower, I doubt the field's even, there's probably not more or less 5 horsepower difference between any one of them out there.
65 horse is the spec.
And Bill Noble built these engines for the longest time. He was one of the gurus who figured a way to make more out of less, and that's what you have to do here.
Sure.
You have to massage the thing and just make less friction in the engine, the gearbox, drive line, everything.
Siebenoller in the 72 is still out in front. Verison's in the 65, the red machine there, in second as they hit the bus stop for the first time.
I drove one of these once, and it's not that easy. I mean, it's so easy to lose grip when you have that skinny a tire.
Yeah. Whiteside in the 61 third, and here comes another car joining the battle. They might go 2 and 3 wide here. I would think, if anything, you'd want to be at the bottom in a freight train here as much as you could.
Yeah, and as we say that, a couple guys get a big draft, and they pop to the upper side. Now a spotter, he drops down. Stephen Davis, another guy in that green car who has won national championships before. There are no real rookies in this group.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, they've done this for a long time.
Roger Siebenoller in the 72. That's the white car with the red nose continuing to lead. They pop out 3-4 wide through the tri-oval here, which portends an exciting finish to this one when we get close to that point. Harrison's in the 65 on the outside, taking the lead into turn 1.
Davis tapped wheels. They hit side-to-side wall right there. Upset the black car. I don't get the number on it, but.
All right, you have limited experience, Dorsey Schrader, driving these cars, but you said you did do it the one time. I've got to believe with this kind of tire and limited horsepower, let's say well under 100 horsepower, momentum is everything.
Absolutely, and running in a draft is everything. You have to carry speed through the corner. You have to not slide the car as much as humanly possible. You want to be tucked underneath somebody all the time.
Pole sitter Siebenoller in second spot now.
These are stock gearboxes out of a Volkswagen Beetle, so the gear ratios are set. At most racetracks, you never shift much. Third, fourth, down for the corners in third.
Yeah.
Fourth in the straightaways between corners.
12th car of Andrew Whitson moving into third position. That's another red and white machine, mostly white with the red cowl that you see there.
With the skinny tires and that limited contact patch, you can't brake hard.
Yeah.
You can't do anything to excess. You have to keep the momentum going and just keep that, just do everything gently.
Stephen Davis in the 80 moving into fourth spot. Michael Verison's in the 65, a guy who's been strong in this category for a long, long time. A lot of drivers in the field probably thinking, hey, we got to make sure he doesn't build up a huge lead. We may need to gang up on him here a little bit.
It's rare to see a runaway in this class, but it's done before, and Verison's is one of the guys that's been able to do it. If you can break the draft of the guys behind you and let them beat up on one another, which they tend to, then then you can actually get away.
So Verison's in the 65. Early leader Siebenoller in second spot now. The 72 car. Siebenoller actually getting shuffled back to third.
Stephen Davis at the end of that. Look at them in that teal-colored car.
And here comes Davis with Verison's in the lead. Davis in fourth spot trying to work with one of the other competitors. That's Siebenoller, the pole sitter, trying to run the high side. Now a third driver joins that draft to try to get around Verison's, and they have done it. They've shuffled Verison's back out of the lead.
And, that's okay. You can get shuffled out of the lead as long as you fall back in and find a hole to get into. You just pay it back later. Of course, we're talking about lap 3.
Siebenoller back in the lead. Pole sitter in that white 72 with the red nose coat.
Look at Davis,
way
got a good run
wide.
inside.
Davis in the 80 car down the middle, able to take the lead back.
Yeah, that was opportunity right there. He saw the one car get out loose to the outside, and he controlled his car's speed so he could tuck to the inside. Look at the different body work, the different types of ways of going about getting a clean run through the air. You're stuck with the chassis. I mean, there's nothing you can do. Everybody's got the same stuff. So then you build your body, which is the best way you can do it.
Davis is your leader in the 80. 65 car in second. That's Verison's.
Those rear transaxles out of a Volkswagen are independent rear suspension, so they have it is a transaxle independent rear suspension. So how you hook that to the frame is open, but you have to use those same axles. You have to use the same brakes, brake drums in this case.
And the idea originally was to give people a chance to go open wheel racing, Formula car racing at a very low budget. Take all the running gear off of Volkswagen Beetle.
And who hasn't taken a Volkswagen Beetle and made it something else? I mean,
a pile of junk in some cases.
They've been airplanes. They've been
dune buggies. Yeah,
they've been everything.
Absolutely. The 65 of Verison's on the high side here at Daytona, taking the lead, sweeping around Davis in the 80.
It's it used to be an inexpensive platform. Now that they're becoming rare, it's not as inexpensive as it used to be. To find a frame off of VW or an engine block that's not been butchered, or gearboxes and stuff, are now a bit more expensive.
Into the bus stop, off the super stretch, and the 12.
A lot of this stuff was
out in front.
A lot of this stuff was reproduced in Brazil, and you can get they're a copy, if you will, but there is stuff out there.
Original spec, but newly manufactured parts are available. Yeah. Siebenoller in the 72 fading here a bit now as Verison's comes back in the 65. That's the red machine at the front of this group. Siebenoller, who was on the pole, has lost the draft. He's back at about 8th. They go 4 wide, coming to the tri-oval here in the early laps.
Make it
Formula
5.
V, make it 5. Yeah, why not? Can't quite fit the 6th guy in there.
Oh, yeah, they might still do that.
Verison's comes out of that with the lead, 1 car below the line, but that may have been a forced situation there.
52 actually dropped down there, and no, look at that. Those puffs of smoke on the downshift, that's normal, like I said before. You get used to that. Tolerance is set up pretty loose on these cars.
Michael Verison's in the 65 has retaken the lead as the field came off the tri-oval. Top 7 or 8 cars just bunched very tightly together. In fact, over the scoring loop at start-finish, the top 9 separated by 1.1 seconds. Charles Hearn back in 9th in the 37. 10th place Gary Kittrell back just 1.3 seconds back. So top 9 very tightly bunched, and then 10th not far off the mix, out of the mix either. Wow.
They never separate by much.
No.
They tend to.
One of the things I think we've seen, Dorsey Schrader, let's take the big picture view here as we watch the early laps of Formula V during these 52nd SCCA National Championship runoffs. The nature of racing at Daytona, I wasn't sure what we would see. We've done the Rolex here on TV many times. We've done NASCAR races here over the years. This place for these kinds of cars that we see in club racing in the SCCA, I wondered what the nature of competition would be. What we've got here, I think, is a situation where you can rally. I mean, you can come from far back with a lap or 2 to go and still score a win.
You definitely can. Because sports cars by nature aren't set to run at these high speeds, they reach their terminal velocity way before the end of the straightaway. So anything you can do to alter that terminal velocity, drafting, whatever, that's going to help your situation out. You can become a zero to hero type of guy with the right car.
Richard Shields in the 77, another red car that you saw make a move there. Looks like he's come to 2nd spot in that machine behind Verison. So red car day so far. Yeah, there's the 77 of Shields. He had come from 6th all the way up to 2nd in that mix, in that run through turns 1 and 2 of the oval here.
And essentially half the field racing for the lead right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's drafting everybody.
Shields from Bridgeville, Pennsylvania in the 77 car races nicely in that machine, the ARS Incorporated VDF chassis.
Most of these cars at the tail end of the gearbox have just a piece of steel, the steel rod bar that comes up and protects the back of the gearbox for the pushing and the drafting that goes on with this.
Like an old midget or sprint car with a push bar back there, kind of, that idea.
Yeah, you'll see those at the back end just to protect that. The shift linkage comes in at the back of these gearboxes.
Top 2, and then you've got a gaggle of 6 more right behind them.
Now, keep into consideration here, take into consideration, they're open wheel cars, and if you bump, tire to tire, front to back, somebody goes for a ride. It gives you a launch. So they're really brave doing what they're doing right now. They all are cognizant of that, putting wheels inside one another and so forth, and trying to get those wheels separated before contact is made.
Out of the International Carousel, heading to the kink here in the infield portion of Daytona International Speedway.
See more than my fair share of these on their lid.
Working lap number 5 of 14. Shields in the 77. The 41. Make that the 61 right behind him. Jonathan Weissheit in 3rd position. That's the blue machine that you see there.
With no wings on the car, no aerodynamic devices whatsoever to alter, you can't do anything to reduce your drag other than clean up the body work and anything that you might have on, even mirrors would be.
Yeah.
Remember Formula One when they used to change mirrors?
Sure.
Depending on where they were, because
Absolutely.
the mirror creates drag. That's how essential that is.
Yeah. Well, we saw that during our years doing the Champ Car World Series. There were teams that would develop different mirror configurations depending on whether you're on an oval or a road course or a street circuit. You might have, you might want different things out of your mirrors, which that's a little advanced for this kind of racing. But your point, Dorsey, well taken. That you stick something out there in the airflow on a car like this, where aero is so crucial, and it can really hurt you.
Yep, no doubt about it. And these guys never quit searching for any advantage they can come up with.
Verison's has opened up a significant lead last time by in that 65 car. There's the 77 of Shields. He was second. He's gotten shuffled back to fourth here. The 61 of Weissheit up in second right now. Right behind him, the 72 Siebenaller starting to rally a little bit. The black car there is the 52 of Mitch Ferguson.
He got trapped up there too. Nobody went with him. That's we talk about that from NASCAR. Two is, when you pop out to pass the guy in front of you, you need somebody behind you to come with you to keep the momentum going. Otherwise, you go alongside and stall, and that's exactly what happened.
Siebenaller back there in seventh now, as it is still Verison's by, last time by he was just 700ths in the good.
Ooh,
Here goes Davis
trouble.
Contact. The 72 and the 80 get together. There is heavy contact.
Yeah, that was
a
shame.
Spin. There was some damage done to one of the cars.
Well,
the 41 with some trouble.
You look at Davis's car and you see the oil coming out. It's knocked the valve cover off the right side of the engine, the cylinder head.
And Stephen Davis will have to go behind the wall. Tough break indeed for the 80 car, who led momentarily earlier.
I actually saw the wheel get in there.
Yep.
Watch it again.
Take another look here as they come through the tri-oval.
And watch
that's Siebenaller in the 72 that made contact.
Left rear wheel goes in and hits the valve cover. Knocks the valve cover off, and you see all the oil just spew out right there.
So Davis was able to drive away and get to a safe area, but leaking some oil there as far as we know.
These guys race each other a lot.
Oh, sure.
Siebenaller didn't know that he was tucked up underneath there. It was kind of a late maneuver.
Well, you've got, you can have spotters here, and some of these guys certainly do have spotting help, but when you're 5 wide trying to funnel down into turn 1 there, and you're in the middle of that group or trying to make a pass on somebody, that's got to be very, very difficult to judge where you are.
And then it's just not you and him. It's all the stuff around in front and back, too, that you got to be cognizant of. So, you might be aware that he's alongside you over there, but you're looking up in front to see if there's something up there that needs your attention, or you're looking in the rearview mirror to see if anybody's coming up from the other side as well.
Absolutely the case. All right, let's reset for you. Working lap number 6 of 14. Verison's out in front. Weissheit the last time by in the 61 second. He's gotten shuffled back to third now behind Ferguson. It's Ferguson in the black 52 who runs in second spot. Third spot, Weissheit in the 61. And then you've got in fourth position Shields in that red 77 car. Fifth belongs to Andrew Whitson. That's another red machine. It's got a little bit of a yellow paint scheme on the nose and on the roll hoop there. So, and to the high side goes Shields. He's going to try it by himself to try and swing around the two cars that are hooked up in the draft.
If he had help, that would work, but he's going to fail now. He's going to fall back. Hopefully he can get back in the same hole. No, he got help.
One of the cars helping the Shields machine there, swinging out behind him, might have been Whitson in the 12. All of this behind Verison's. As we put lap number 6 on the board, starting lap number 7. 5 cars bunched up heading to turn 1, and the leader, Michael Verison's, in car number 65. So we've got a great one going on here in Formula V. In the 52nd SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb. We're live at Daytona International Speedway. Second half action coming your way.
The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
Welcome back, Daytona International Speedway. Watching a barn burner here in Formula V action, part of the 52nd SCCA National Championship runoffs with Dorsey Schrader, I'm Rick Benjamin, Hayward Wagner on pit road. Got another couple of cars up, but a tangle a little further back, the 121. We've got one car not in a safe area, the 44. John Fuchs' machine with a left rear wheel broken off.
Wheel sitting up there by the 121. There's obviously been contact between the two.
Justin Wilbanks may see a full course yellow. That car, the car minus its left rear, sitting just out of a corner, just outside the line there, where another car I would think could come along easily and have some contact. We don't want that. So I would expect a yellow, but and there it is, full course caution.
Yep. They got to move those for sure because they're in the target zone. And we know one of them has no wheel on it any longer, so it's going to require a lift.
Definitely the case. All right, 7 laps complete. Starting lap number 8, this one will be under caution here in the Formula V featured today. Coming up, we've got one more round of action for you after this event. We'll continue our coverage late this afternoon on Saturday with GT Lights. GTL will come your way, and Dorsey and I will have that for you to wrap up our Saturday's worth of coverage here at these 52nd Annual SCCA National Championship runoffs. Your running order, Michael Verison's in the 65 will be the restart pole sitter. Mitchell Ferguson in the 52, the black machine, will line up in second position. Charles Hearn in the 37, that's the red car with the yellow nose cone. He'll go third. Jonathan Weisheidt in the 61 will be fourth. And you've got Shields in the 77, Whitson in the 12, Gary Cattell in the 76, Alex Scaler in the 19 car, Andrew Abbott in the deuce, and Tyler Hunter in the 21. That's your top 10 of the 31 cars that took the green here today in Formula V. One more look at what happened. There's the aftermath of it. You see the wheel bouncing down through there.
Now, you know what? That's kind of a strange thing. I'm kind of now thinking that wheel might have come off and he collected the other car. It might not have been. It takes a lot to rip that wheel off like that. You know, the hubs on those could break because that wheel was intact. It didn't look bent at all.
Yeah, no, it did not. It did not.
It looked like it came off and collected the car next to it, more than likely. Those are brake drums. You don't see
no disc brakes all the way around on these
brake
cars.
drums, and that, you know, it could have cracked around the bolt pattern. Those pieces are manufactured a long time ago.
In many cases, that's true. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
And these artificial loads of the banking put tremendous force on there, something a Volkswagen Bug would never, ever see. I should put a V8 in it.
Well, these cars aren't top heavy like a Bug was.
No,
so
they actually, Jackie Stewart during the Daytona 500 one year, they had a Volkswagen Beetle with no engine in it, and they put it, no glass in it, and they put it up and tied it to the wall up there in NASCAR 3 and 4, and then Jackie released it from the wall so it would tumble down to show people how severe the banking is.
Sure.
And how top-heavy the Volkswagen was.
First time I came here in 1981 to do NASCAR on the radio, and I remember walking in those early years to the top of this racetrack, which hasn't, I mean, the safer barriers are up. It's a different place in terms of fan experience, all those things. Of course, they're in the midst of the Daytona Rising project. That's why the grandstands are being redone, a lot of the infield being redone by the time. If you come here for the Rolex in January, this place will look a lot different than Daytona 500. Certainly the case as well. But in any case, the circuit itself, the track itself is essentially the same. Walk up there the first time as a relative, as a newcomer to the broadcasting part of the sport, and thought, I can't believe I'm standing here.
It's amazing. You do get on your hands and knees before you get to the top.
Sure.
You know, you don't feel like you can stand there at that angle.
Verison's in the 65 will have the restart pole. Mitchell Ferguson in that black 52 car alongside, and then third spot Hearn in the 37, Weisheidt in the blue car, that's the 61. We'll line up in the
halfway
fourth
through
position
right now, so it's going to be a sprint. You know, it's a sprint race anyway, but now half our lap's gone. Everybody's going to be bunched up.
Absolutely the case. Woodson from Neenah, Wisconsin, in a good situation, back in 6th in the 12 car. Verison's, your restart pole sitter, started 2nd out of Burlington, Wisconsin, Chicago region contender in the Speed Sport machine. We'll see whether the safety car is going to dive for pit road this time, or if he's going to stay. It looks like he will stay out on the racetrack this time. So
yeah, another lap to go at least.
this will begin lap number 8. We'll go up on the board and we'll start lap number 9. So there'll be 5 to go. Hayward Wagner, what are you hearing on pit road?
Talked to a lot of the teams that are here on pit road. The vast majority aren't here. Almost everybody finding a place either up high or in the infield where they can spot, as you guys were talking about. The vision for the drivers so important here because of the close proximity. The people I have talked to, this yellow doesn't seem to be of much consequence. It's a good opportunity for the drivers to cool their heads a little bit, cool the cars a little bit, but nobody felt like they gained or lost anything by it.
Yeah, that's you get time to think after one of these yellows like this. And if you were drop back, they don't drop back far. Everybody's in their group,
Yeah.
So, but it does give the drivers time to think about the next half of the race, which is about to transpire. Where am I not good? Where's the guy in front of me weak? Where can I pass him? A lot of things running through your mind.
Tough break for the 44.
Yeah, I think he was a victim. I really do.
Going out on the hook.
Oh, that's the one with the wheel.
Yeah, John Fuchs minus the left rear. And a tough break indeed there. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. One of the things I've noticed here, and every runoffs, and we've been doing these for a long time on television, it has a different character to it, and I wondered what it would feel like here at Daytona.
It's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. 600 plus entries, as is usually the case. Some different first-timers, some teams unable to come because of this is a long tow from the West Coast.
It is, yeah. And of course, the races last year were on the West Coast,
yeah.
so it's payback.
It's the reverse of
that's the way it used to be. It
Yeah.
used to be Riverside, California. Then the next year it would be here in Daytona. Then go back to Riverside. They did that all the way up till 1970 when Road Atlanta got the first of its runs that were there for many, many years. Everybody complained Road Atlanta straightaways too long and it favored guys with high horsepower. That is what it is. The Elkhart had the same thing at Elkhart.
Sure.
People complained about it there. And you got Mid-Ohio. And yeah, it's always going to be. The thing is, these runoffs are run in very late September, October, and there's only a few tracks in the country, geographically speaking, that can do the race and hold this many race cars.
Yeah.
600 race cars, you have to have a big racetrack.
Absolutely the case. And as we said earlier, here, the thing that has struck me is that you've got great opportunities here because of the nature of the banking here, the big speedway element of this, to rally if you fall behind. You can think your way back up to the front.
Well, that's a very good point. I mean, at Road Atlanta, you had the one long straightaway, so horsepower did rule there. But at this place, with as long as the straightaway is around here, you can regroup after being passed, and you can use the draft to get back.
Absolutely. And we've had well-timed cautions. Certainly don't want to see anybody's day come to an early end here, but it does happen in racing, of course, and the cautions have fallen just right for some people here today and yesterday as well, and I'm sure we'll see more of the same tomorrow when we wrap up the 52nd SCCA National Championship runoffs. We'll be with you very early in the morning tomorrow. Greg Creamer and Jeff Lepper will kick things off tomorrow morning with a 9 a.m. Eastern Time start for Touring 2 and 3 together. And then Formula C, and Dorsey and I will have GT3 and Spec Racer 4 following that before
Both
lunch.
of those will be really good, too.
Yeah, that'll be awesome events. We've enjoyed this thoroughly so far this weekend. Always a high point on our calendar every year to come to the SCCA runoffs and bring you our coverage here on Speedcast TV and on SCCA.com. Getting set for a restart. It'll be single file. Cars down low, as we mentioned earlier. You want to be at the bottom, save that distance. No need in a car like this to try to run the top of the banking, although we've had some cars in the middle of the racetrack do quite well in the draft here, so it's been very interesting. We had them 4 and 5 wide a couple of times through the trial. Well, I bet we see more of that before the checkered flag.
I'd say in about 30 seconds. You can count on it.
Safety car headed for the infield, and the field under the control of Michael Verisons in the 65, Mitch Ferguson in the 52 car, Hearn third in the 37, Weissite fourth in the 61, Shields in that red 77 who's led laps will start fifth as we get going again, putting 9 laps on the board. 5 to go here at Daytona.
This should be wild. Hold your breath for 5 laps. It's going to be hard to do.
Down into 1, no change. Verisons, Ferguson, Hearn, your top 3.
Hearn a little bit loose right there. Actually, it was Ferguson that just got a tail wag. Might not have got all the clag off his tires. They've been there behind the pace car for a little bit.
Hearn in the 37, taking a look, trying to move up to second spot on Ferguson. Can't get it done. Here comes the 61. This is Weissite. They go 3 wide coming out of the International Horseshoe.
It's okay if they get it back to single flame they have before that kink. You can do it side by side, but not at full speed.
Not ideal.
No, you're going to lose time doing it.
I think Hearn is being held up a little bit through the infield here by Ferguson. Meantime, on the bottom, there's the 77 car of Shields trying to gain ground. He moves up to fourth.
And that was, I think that was like mesmerizing. Everybody was drafting everybody, and it left a big hole open, so why not take it?
Dorsey, if you were fielding a car here this weekend, would you set up for the oval or for the infield?
For these guys, I would get on the oval, because that checkered flag's at the end of the oval for sure. If you're slow on this part of the racetrack, there's not much you can do about it. It's too wide. We've seen them go 5 wide, so you're not going to be able to drive a wide enough car to keep somebody behind you. So I'd go for straight line speed, and it is a compromise. I mean, you got to get through the infield decently.
77 of Shields working with Hearn in the 37. They get by the 52 of Ferguson for second. Here comes the 72 car back up into the mix. It looks like that's the 72.
Andrew Whitson in the 12 got his nose in there and picked up a couple positions.
Whitson very strong here as your leader continues to be Verisons. There's the 77 of Shields, Hearn at the 37.
And the 12.
The 12 car in fourth
Whitson
spot.
actually made a couple positions in that exchange back there.
The car painted very similarly to the 72 of our pole sitter.
Now we see a little pushing.
Roger Siebenaller out after the contact earlier. And yeah, hooked up in a draft on the high side there. Now we'll see if Hearn and Whitson can get something going on the outside and try to track down Verisons. This is what I think a lot of drivers were fearful of, that Verisons was strong enough that he could pull away from the field. This could be a case where you need 3 or 4 bunched up together to go after him.
You very well might, and that's for sure. And there's a bunch of guys that just got good runs off that. Ooh, I don't know.
Charles Hearn, too low maybe going down into one, was able to go outside and still enter the corner cleanly. So Hearn comes out of that in second spot.
Pulls an outside pass around turn 1, too. That's
not easy to do, huh?
No, that's pretty good.
I like that line. He was high, he went low, went high again to kind of diamond the corner there.
I think it confused everybody around him, and they checked up a little bit maybe.
Shields in the 77, settling into third for the moment. Whiteside in the 61 in fourth position.
There goes Verisons. That's ominous looking.
Yeah.
When he starts to sneak away like that.
Going on behind gives him a little more breathing room as he's going to try to extend his lead here.
These guys have better be disciplined right now, because Verison's car is quite quick, straight line by itself. It's pulling this whole group.
Verisons is your leader. Hearn in that 37 with the yellow nose running in second spot. Shields in the 77 now third. And then the 52 car in fourth position. Mitch Ferguson back into the mix here as he had fallen back as far as seventh earlier.
Now, why are those guys up on top of the racetrack when Verisons is on the bottom? I mean,
well, isn't it a case when you come back up onto the banking, your momentum will carry you up high, but you have to dive back down to the bottom?
It does, but that draft is equally important to the scrub factor, I think.
Shields in the 77 says, all right, I'll take this one.
They're
go up high. Ferguson, now they go too wide again.
They're killing each other as far as trying to catch Verisons, though. I mean, they're racing really hard for second place, but Verisons is going to leave them.
And as we've seen several times earlier today in other categories in these runoffs, a couple of cars working together, you need to cut that deal early and make sure everybody understands what you're trying to get done here. Right now, you've got Verisons opening up more than a 2.5 lead.
And once again, you see right there.
Yeah, Hearn on the outside. He's fourth. Wants to get by Ferguson for third.
So putting a big brake on, big air brake. Now, see how they're trapped side by side.
I mean, you understand that everybody's scrambling. You've got less than 5 laps to go. You've got a podium position at the runoffs in play here. But at the same time, if you want a shot at winning this thing, you've got to think about the guy who's opened up the lead.
Absolutely, and the two of those guys fight, and they can't even catch third place, which is by himself. That's how much the aero drag becomes a factor. Now there are 3 of them back there. Let's see what happens.
77 of Shields now second, Ferguson third, Hearn settles into fourth, and Whitson
Shields
in
made
fifth.
a little time right there on Verisons. That wasn't too bad. It's closer than he was.
Top 5 apparently will settle this one amongst themselves, but for the moment, Verisons looks pretty darn tough in the 65 car.
For Shields, he's got wolves at the back door now.
Yeah. Whitson in the 12, probably trying to figure out, okay, if we work together, can we get there?
They have to work together. They got to quit messing around because, I mean, essentially they have 3 more laps to go. They got to get there before they can make a pass.
working.
If they run like
12.
they are, nose and tail, they can catch the guys in front of them. But as soon as one of them pops to too wide, it's going to be over.
Yeah. And lap number 12, here are these runoffs. 50 miles our distance, 40 minutes timed if we need that. We've had one race, F1000, Formula B, if you will, shortened earlier today.
Shields has picked up the draft. He's picked up a little bit of the Barrison's draft. He was down there on the apron, though. Did you see that? He was 4 wheels under the double yellow line, and that is a no-no, and there was nobody around him to force him there. So we'll see if he draws any kind of a penalty because of that.
Now, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're linked up in a three-way draft. This is Ferguson.
Well, that'll work if they can.
Hearn in the 37, the 12 car of Andrew Whitson, all linked together. Patience, boys, patience.
There's one way to say, at least for 2 more laps, 3 more laps.
Working lap number 12. That'd be
Tell you
3
what,
to go.
Shields
2 to
has
go
caught
next time
up
by.
with Barrison's, but he definitely did run on the bottom of that apron, which you're not supposed to do.
Mitch Ferguson in the 52 car, your 3rd place entry. Charles Hearn in the 37 runs 4th. Then you have the 12 car of Andrew Whitson in 5th position, all of them chasing Michael Barrison's in the 65. Richard Shields in the 77 car has emerged in 2nd. Last time by, Shields was about 3/4 of a second off the lead.
Look
now
at the
he's
lead.
Closed right in on Barrison's. 2 laps to go, 2 to go. 3 cars side by side for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 2 to go.
And they're side by side behind these two, so that's not going to help their cause.
Shields in that red 77. These are 2 different chassis now.
Oh, real shallow line, really shallow line for turn 2.
Barrison's in the 65, started 2nd. That's a Speed Sport Engineering AM5. Shields in the 77 car, lined up in 5th position. That's an ARS V-Sport Racing VDF2.
Whitson could play into this. He's got a good car, I think.
Whitson in the 12 was 6th a few moments ago. He's advanced to 3rd here. White flag will be out next time by.
And now all 5 cars are close enough to be in the draft of one another.
Barrison's has been quick all day, and he's been the dominator from the start pretty much.
Various lines being used through this infield.
A lot of different approaches to being faster. Oh, trouble.
This could,
is that the 11 car?
Or 71, which is it? I hope that car can get going because he could ruin our ending here.
Yeah. They'll get the white flag, the field will this time by presumably, but we may have to go yellow, and SCCA telling us that car's in a safe area, so we will stay full course green.
It looks like it would be the 11, Guy Bellingham. There you go.
65, the 77, Barrison's and Shields running 1 and 2, heading for the bus stop.
Barrison right down the center of the road, so it makes it really hard to make a decision which way to go around me. Shields runs really shallow entries to corners. It gives him a lot of speed in, but then he's got to stop the car. There's the pop right there.
On the outside, Shields trying it here on Barrison's.
I think that was too early.
Whitson in the 12 in 3rd spot.
Duck down, run down the hill, get the speed.
White flag this time by. Is this a test run? Is this, I'm going to see what I have for the last lap? They go 3 wide.
And look, 2 guys up on top are going to go right by both of them.
Hearn in the 37 working with, who's that in the front of the field there? Here comes Ferguson in the black 52 car.
That was one of those situations where they could have stayed, but instead they decided to go around, and look here. 3 wide, watch
That is the 12 car of Andrew Whitson taking advantage, grabbing the lead down into 1 with the white flag in the air.
I told you I thought he had something in that car. It looked good to me.
Big scramble here, and Whitson comes out on top of it and starts to lengthen the lead now in the infield.
They have 2 more really good opportunities left, though. We'll see how they play out. Whitson looked like he was biding his time. It looked like he had a good car under him. It's the first we've seen him at the front.
Yeah, Whitson pulling to the front of this field, but this one is not over. Just like we've been saying, last lap heroics have been part of the storyline much of the day here today. Day 2 of these SCCA runoffs. Here comes the 65 of Barrison's.
Nice pass.
Led a lot of laps. Barges through on the inside on Hearn. Hearn's going to come right back at him.
He did barge through, too.
And the 12 car of Whitson up front, but maybe not for long. Verison's starting to show you the strength of that 65 car.
Verison's is tough. He knows how to get the job done here.
Out of the infield road course, up onto the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. This is the run around to the bus stop.
Whitson's a sitting duck right now. He made that pass a little too early. Here comes Verison's going to work the high side. Nobody behind him to help. Pops back down. That was wise.
Now, can Whitson be a little creative in his line here and protect this?
Oh, here comes the draft on top.
Hearn and Ferguson.
And
they go 3 wide. Ferguson looks to the high side, tucks back in behind Hearn. The bottom opens up, and Verison's wants to make it 4 wide in there, heading to the bus stop.
Verison's going to force the hand
They
right
may not
here.
all fit in here, boys. Oh, and Hearn comes out with the lead, and Ferguson from the outside takes second.
Nicely done.
Charles Hearn drives around him on the outside. Now what happens here when we get to turn 3 of the oval?
Way up to the top of the racetrack.
Charles Hearn says, no draft on me. I'm going by myself.
Now watch him run down the hill. That'll give him speed. He's up on top. He's 6 stories up. He's going to dive for the bottom. Here comes Verison's.
Verison's in the middle of the racetrack,
down there,
saving
man,
ground
down
on the inside. I don't think he's got it. I think Verison's has too much speed here. Hearn on the high side. Crowds in behind Verison's. They're 3 wide behind Verison's. There's your leader coming to the tri-oval. Here's Ferguson.
About to be a big wreck.
Yeah, I was going to say, nose to tail to nose, it's going to be Verison's for the win in Super V, in Formula V. Verison's takes the Formula V victory.
He didn't run down the hill, get the advantage of running down off a 6-story bank.
I think he realized he had cars inside and he didn't have room to make it.
Boy, I don't know if he didn't have a spotter. I'd have been screaming at him right then. Get down, get down.
Michael Verison's rallying on the last lap, as we have seen several times today. Whitson in the 12 ends up second. The 77 of Shields is third. Charles Hearn in the 37 is fourth. And Mitch Ferguson in the 52 has to settle for fifth. And the gap amongst the top 5.15 seconds.
I think Hearn could have won that. I really do. I think if he had a spotter to say drop to the bottom, block Verison's, it would have blocked Verison's.
When he went up high there, I wondered. I figured he would try to run down off the banking.
That would have been what I'd have tried to do for sure, because you're going to get the advantage of running downhill, and then you also would block Verison's, and once you blocked him, nobody else was strong enough.
I didn't think he had enough distance, though, on Verison's to make it work. When he pulled up high, it let Verison's close on him.
He'd had to do it early. He would have had to have a spotter tell him go now.
Yeah. And Verison's was just too close.
By staying up there, I mean, he's just running a longer way around, and you could see the cars coming. They were all coming.
He opened the door too far by doing that. He may have figured that was his only option to hold the lead.
It's the old woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Exactly. So a great battle in Formula V, one of the best races of the day, no question about it. Verison's your winner by 5/100ths of a second over Whitson. Richard Shields another 100th back in third. Hearn another 600ths back in fourth, and Ferguson another 300ths back from that in fifth position. Top 5 separated by 0.152 seconds. A photo finish if you've ever seen one. Fantastic.
I'm just glad they didn't have the big wreck they looked like they were about to at the end there.
And it's a testimony to these guys that are veterans of Formula V.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're used to running on top of each other.
Know what they've got. Know all the other drivers involved. I mean, part of this is knowing who you're racing against.
Yeah, it is. And you know, they know the corners of the car by probably 1/8 of an inch. You know, they can place that car exactly where they know it needs to be. At this class, that's one thing about it. This class teaches you how to race in a group really hard. You're always in a group. You're never going to be by yourself. So if you get this experience in Formula V and you take that further down the road in your career, I mean, it teaches you a lot.
Sure.
You can't get that kind of experience in most classes, quite honestly.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. And it's one of the cool things I think about open wheel racing. The tactics and the way you approach something like this way different than what you do in a fendered car.
Yep. They got a lot of respect for one another, and that's, you know,
that's what it takes. It is key. There's no doubt. No doubt about that. All right, a great one here in Formula V. Verison's your winner. Whitson and Shields rounding out the podium. And as the cars come in on their cool-down lap, Hayward Wagner on pit road to talk to the winner and the runner-up and the third-place finisher as well. And we will hear all about it from their perspective over the next couple of moments. More to come here today. We're not done by a long shot. We've got one more, I think will be a terrific race for you this Saturday afternoon. GT Lights upcoming in just a couple of moments here today, and that will wrap up our Saturday's worth of coverage of these SCCA runoffs, the 52nd annual, first time back here at Daytona International Speedway since 1969. So we're looking forward to having that for you. There is your winner in the 65. Michael Verison's giving it the thumbs up. Verison's will unbuckle and unplug his radio, pop the steering wheel and the electronic dash off the car. Terrific job by Verison's, who just really put together a terrific drive, I thought.
Multi-time national champion in this class. Like you say, he's one of the guys that's been here quite a long time. And certainly experience in this class is paramount.
So Verison's pulls the helmet off. He'll unplug the radio, unbuckle, undo the Hans device, pull the earplugs, and Hayward will chat with him to celebrate Michael Verison's in victory lane at Formula V. Hayward.
Michael Verison's last year in California, your race was over before it began. This one went to the very end. Tell me a little bit about that last lap and what you saw coming out of the bus stop.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen in that whole deal. I mean, I know we were a lot quicker than all the guys on the infield, and it seemed like throughout the race I could pull enough lead on the infield that they couldn't quite get by me by the start-finish line. But then the last 2 laps, Shields was behind me, and he was pretty quick through the infield too, so I was having a hard time getting the gap. And then all of a sudden, I found myself back and forth, and I just kind of forced my way through. I had a feeling I wanted to be about second or third coming out of the bus stop. I wasn't sure I was going to get that draft or not, but I did, and I got it by a little bit. Andy behind me helped bump me a little bit. Shields was coming up on the outside. Andy kind of gave me a little toe that I needed, and it was all that worked out. I can't believe it. It was awesome.
How much trust do these guys have to have in this class to be able to run that close lap after lap after lap at these speeds?
Yeah, it's kind of a little hairy, but you know we've all been running together for so long that it wasn't so bad, and it was actually cleaner than I thought it was going to be out there. I think fortunately the pack got small enough that there was only 5 or 6 of us or something up there at a time, so it wasn't so bad. If there was 30 cars up there, it might have been a whole other story.
Well, big congratulations to you coming back from the disappointment of last year and putting another one in the books, another national championship for Michael Verison's.
Thank you. This is awesome. I can't believe it.
All right, Michael's going to go out. Michael's going to go out on. Go ahead.
Hayward, go ahead. Finish up.
I'm looking for people. You go ahead and talk. I'm looking for the driver of the 12 car. Oh, right behind me.
Andrew Winston. There you go.
Andrew Winston. What a race. Was this just like being at the county theme park running around in go-karts?
Yeah, it was very exciting. It's kind of anybody's race. Mike kept trying to get away from us, and we were able to work together just enough to pull him back in.
You seem to be the only guy that really had anything for him on the infield portion of the course, which kind of kept everybody back in tow with him. Did you feel like you were kind of the go-between in those two groups?
To tell you the truth, I was mostly just trying to stay in single file through most of the way so that we could, behave correctly and catch back up to Mike. So I don't know about any of that, but you just got to make it to the end of the race before really any of it matters, because there was going to be 5 or 6 of us there no matter what, unless Mike got away. So
there was some discussion in the booth about Hearn on the last lap. Everybody knew that no one wanted to lead out of the bus stop. He did. He hung up high. What did you think of his strategy there? What was he going for?
I had 4 cars in front of me I'm trying to maneuver through. I wasn't really paying attention too much to what he did. I did see him high. I didn't really quite know what was going on, but we were all looking for this guy and couldn't quite get him this time.
All right, I'm going to ask the guys in the booth, do we have a margin of victory on this race?
Yeah. How about 0.058 seconds?
0.058 second margin of victory in Formula V. That's a pretty close one, wasn't it?
Very close, very close. And I know 1 through 3 was probably just as tight. So,
well, congratulations to you. A great silver medal podium finish here in Formula V. And I've got one more person I'm looking for, Andrew Winston. Up right. Everybody's right behind me. They're trying to sneak up on that. That's what these V guys do. They draft. A great last couple of laps there. When was this clear to you that you were going to be on the podium? When did you realize you had a shot at it?
I think I was going to finish the race. I lost my clutch on lap 7.
So you were shifting without a clutch?
Yeah, from 7 on. Yeah.
How do you do that?
You just rev it to the point where you can shift. I did it a couple of times. It didn't work out. That's why I got passed on the infield a couple of times, because I wasn't able to get it into gear. But once I figured out how to get it into gear at a certain RPMs, I was able to keep up with everybody, and I led a couple laps.
Well, guys, we've had people finish in the bronze position that have no brakes. We've had people finish in the bronze position with power steering fluid all over their windshield. Now we've got a bronze finisher with no clutch. Everybody says the happiest guy is the guy who wins. The next happiest guy is third because, man, you almost missed the podium, didn't you?
It was really close. In fact, I was so busy, and before we started the race, my radios wouldn't work. I had no radio guy. I was so busy watching the race or driving the race, I didn't know that was the last lap.
That's a busy man running around in that bronze medal position. Guys, back to you.
All right, Hayward, thank you very much. That's the comments of Richard Shields, who finished third in the 77. As we mentioned a few moments ago, Dorsey Schrader, 6/100ths of a second, the gap from first to third. 0.066 was the gap, and Shields about 8,000ths of a second behind Whitson, second to third. There's the gap on the right-hand side of your screen. Verison's the winner. Whitson and Shields, your top three. Hearn ends up fourth, Ferguson fifth. They all led laps. Alex Scaler, Gary Cattell rounding out your top seven. Whitson, Ron Whitson, Tyler Hunter, and Andrew Abbott, the rest of the top 10. Great Formula V race.
It's what you expect out of Formula V. No margin of victory. I mean, they come across as a group, and you got to sort it out later.
Roger Siebenthaler there started from the pole in the 72 and led laps early, but he would come a cropper here with the 80 car of Stephen Davis. They didn't finish. Tough one. Davis getting the part of the engine knocked loose there, and oil comes spewing out of the race car. Hearn in the 37 here in the 65 of Verison's put on a great show.
Absolutely great show. I mean, we didn't know it's impossible to tell out of the top five who's going to win this. It comes down to this every time. A group of five all going for it at the same time, and checkered flag. It was a good show.
No question about that. So Verison's, Whitson, and Shields finish on the podium in Formula V in these 2015 SCCA National Championship runoffs presented by Garmin Verb. For Dorsey Schrader, Hayward Wagner, I'm Rick Benjamin, congratulating your champion, Michael Verisons. There is plenty more to come at Daytona International Speedway.
The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
Back at Daytona International Speedway as Michael Verisons takes the checkered flag around on his victory lap here at Daytona, celebrating with his team and with the fans on hand, with the corner workers and the marshals, everyone placed out around the course here on this 3.5-mile road course layout at Daytona. Beautiful day for racing. Packed paddock as you would expect, more than 600 entries in this year's running of the SCCA National Championship runoffs. And a lot of fans turning out here today, Doris. I was surprised. Of course, the grandstand's closed, but plenty of places to spectate from on the Daytona road course infield. A lot of the bleachers have a good number of folks in there. Saw a lot of cars coming in today, so today and tomorrow. Fans of sports car racing getting their fill here this weekend, no question.
Well, we provide racing at the runoffs from basically 8 o'clock in the morning till 5:30 at night, and there's 15 minutes between every race. Every race goes 40 minutes, so I mean it's nonstop action. Really cool. You don't want to be in the grandstands for that. You want to be down here on the infield, and going out there and being right next to the cars, meeting the drivers and whatnot.
Absolutely. It's one of the cool things about club racing, SCCA style. You get to do that, of course, so walk the paddock without a whole lot of difficulty here. We come here for pro racing weekends, for NASCAR, for the Rolex 24, the IMSA weekend, a lot of other things. We'll be back here for Trans Am in November with Historic Sports Car, and you'll be involved in that. Yep. When you come to those sorts of events, it can be challenging to get into a place like this just to navigate everything, just to get your credentials, get your passes, find parking, get inside, all of that. Not that way here at these runoffs. Very low-key and fun.
very user-friendly here. Everybody, there's so much camaraderie amongst the SCCA, not only just the drivers and the crews and, the competitors themselves, but the competitors to the corner workers who work for free around here throughout the entire year, throughout the United States. They provide the safety factor that we need to drive. The marshals, even the stewards of the meet who you have to go see when you've done something wrong. It's a big, huge family, and everybody has a good time, and it's user-friendly. We invite everybody and anybody to come out here.
Absolutely the case. So the GT Lights field will be coming out for their 50-mile chase to wrap up day 2 of the runoffs here coming up in a couple of moments. Look forward to that. 10 cars will answer the call, so not one of the bigger fields that we have had, just enough to qualify as a national championship round. By rule, you have to have 10 cars to make that happen. But some interesting stories, certainly in this field, as we've provided our Honda racing coverage here this week at HPD Trackside at YouTube, if you'd like to see what we've been doing while we're not bringing you our call of these events with Dorsey here this weekend. Jim Dentisi from Wisconsin in the Raglan Racing 11 on the pole in GT Lights. Dentisi, a multi-time national champion, just a cool guy to talk to at age 68, going for another championship.
He retired for a while. He comes back. I'll do it again.
Yeah, there you go.
Why not? It's just like me.
Loves doing this. Just really loves this sport. It's one of the things